give our musicians some love. Now give yourself some love. Turn around and notice the beings that are right here in the sanctuary with you, and notice the beings. You can do this. Third eye open. Notice the beings that are traveling with us from all around the globe to be right here with us. And let us be aware that this is a field of love and beauty and intelligence. It is a field that's extending way beyond our body temple, and it's being magnified and multiplied by our conscious intentionality to wake up from the simulation, to wake up from time and space, to wake up from any sense of separation from the divine presence that is everywhere in its fullness. We have come into this theater of the mind and heart to be liberated from any sense of separation and to answer the calling of our own soul that brought us into this incarnation to reflect and to reveal the infinite in a way that has never happened before, because we have never happened before. We are the only ones of ourself, and there'll never, ever be another one of us, because the Spirit of the living God never repeats itself. It is revealing its infinite nature as each and every one of us, and it got you right the first time. And so you can throw away all old theologies that deal with the misconcept that you were born into some kind of sin, that you are an original blessing from the presence of God, here to wake up to your glorious nature and to anchor it in time and space as creation, as manifestation, as demonstration. Therefore, the theme of the month, which is the new world, is emerging now, and that you can live in it at this moment. This new world that I'm speaking about is beyond the simulation of time and space. It is beyond the imprints that have happened to us as we incarnated into this dimension that has allowed us to experience trauma and separations and the like. And it is beyond the matrix, the simulation that is created by nefarious hypnotism, in ways that our mind have been conditioned. There is a perfect spiritual idea of our very own life. Before the beginning of time, there is an idea of who and what we really are. It is pristine, it is magnificent, it is wonderful, and in that same sense, there is a divine and perfect spiritual ideation of the world that works for the highest and best within us all. It is held in the hard mind of the infinite, and that world is emerging right here and right now. However, it is emerging through us. So when I say you can live in it right now, your spiritual practice allows you to have little imprints of that which is real and eternal, and through spiritual practice, you're able to sustain those imprints so that those imprints of creativity, those imprints of insights and revelation, you're able to sustain it, so you're actually living in the expanded awareness while you're walking on this planet. Which means as a spiritual astronaut, you're walking in the new world even before it physically manifests for all people on the planet. Now that is your role as individuals that are on the path of spiritual liberation, not to wait for an external something in the sweet by and by to take place, but to realize it is taking place right now in the heart mind of the infinite, and we are to participate in that dynamic through divine intentionality, spiritual practice, and the sustaining of those insights and revelations through spiritual practice, so that we're walking in the new world now. Just say it with me, if you will. I'm willing to walk in the real world right now. I'm willing to be an ambassador of the real world right now. Therefore, I get to release love, peace, and joy, harmony right now. And so with that expanded awareness, we have heard the phrase since the times we were little kids, beginning of every fairy tale, once upon a time. And then the characters were thrown into a linear dimension of drama that ultimately allowed them to grow, develop, and unfold to be free from that simulation. But we want to replace once upon a time with once upon a choice. Once upon a choice is the dynamic we want to live in. And when we begin to live from this expanded awareness of choice, which choice does come from expanded awareness. When there's limited awareness, there's reaction. When there's expanded awareness, there is choice. which means once you're living for more expanded awareness and you have the consciousness to choose, you move well beyond being victims of circumstances, conditions, situations, people, places, and things. You're now living in high choiceability of a world and a life that you want to live in. Say right with me right now, I exercise my ability to choose. And so in this awareness, you have the ability to choose. But your choice is a function of expanded awareness. Just recently journeyed back from Accra, Ghana, Kumasi, had wonderful beings with us at the time, and we had the honor and privilege to go into the slave dungeons that were there, and we saw humanity's barbaric experience against itself in these particular slave dungeons. And at one point, I had them focus on not just the barbaric of humanity against itself. I had them focus on the fierceness of the individuals who were locked in these cells for death because they were just too fierce to go through the enslavement, so they end up dying in the cells. So I invited the party to not just focus on the barbarism of that particular experience, but to focus on the fierceness of the individuals that refused to go through that. And then they would take that frequency of fearlessness, and fierceness to use it to break free from the simulation and all the internal thoughts and perceptions and points of view that keep us locked in a sense of separation, a sense of unhappiness, a sense of joy, and a sense of peace. I invited them also to look at those who were captured and went through the transatlantic a slave trade and ultimately lived through the barbarism of plantation life, the scourge of racism, etc., 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 to ultimately give birth to many of us that are here today, and to think about the resilience, to think about the inner conditioning of the mind that allowed them to survive everything that was totally against them. And I invited them again not to merely just focus on the experience of barbarism, but to focus on the energy of fierceness, to focus on the energy of resilience, to focus on the energy of this determination, and begin to carry that frequency within us and to magnify it. Now, obviously we prayed in there, we did chanting, we did particular things to hold the high frequency, but to focus on these particular qualities so that we can bring them back and look in our own internal awareness and see where we have been snagged, seduced, provoked into a limited point of view. In other words, individuals are not merely stuck in a cycle, they are conditioned, so that their mind is conditioned by external circumstances. So today, we want to explore unconditional choice. What does that mean? There is apparent coherence around that which is real. What does that mean? When things are going well, when things are going according to our plan, when things are going the way we want them to go, we're happy, we're in joy, we're celebratory, we're absolutely aglow with the Spirit of the living God. That's apparent coherence. But then when things don't go right, they don't go according to our plan. When things are topsy-turvy, then we lose the vibration. We're not in that frequency anymore because the external world is not lining up with what we think we want. Therefore, that's called apparent coherence, but it's not real coherence. Unconditional choice means that you're developing the skill and the power of fierceness and resilience so that when things aren't going well, you're able to still hold the frequency of joy and of love and of peace and of wellness, because you do not get what you request, you get your resonance. The universe vibrates at your resonance. And so we are here not to just, just affirm the truth of our being and be happy when things are going well. We're here to develop an unconditional choice that allows us to stay in the high vibration even when things aren't going the way we want them to go. So therefore, I say to us at times, it is a beautiful practice to be grateful. To wake up in the morning and absolutely be grateful for our life. It allows us to have some level of coherence around the dynamic receptivity of the Spirit of the living one flowing through us. However, if we're grateful in the morning but complain and compare throughout, and if that's in our conversation the rest of the day, then we're oscillating in our frequency and in our choice, and your dominant resonance will be ultimately be displayed as your life. And so we are here to say once upon a choice, every single day, once upon a choice. And when we're able to hold the frequency, the vibrational frequency of love and of wholeness and of harmony and of generosity and of creativity, unconditional choice, regardless of what appears to be happening, then our real identity emerges. And the universal presence recognizes us based on our vibrational address. And so it is easy to be happy when things are going well. It is difficult when they are not. That is when we get down. That's when we do the work, you see? Because it is, as I've said over the years, that anything that's learned under duress becomes stress resistant. In other words, when things are difficult and you take the opportunity to go in and you begin to vibrate with joy and for no apparent reason, vibrate with love for no apparent reason, vibrate with peace for no apparent reason, you have placed yourself in the weight room of the human condition, and you're now developing power that has nothing to do with everything going well in your life. Under duress, that which is learned becomes stress resistant. So that when you go out, so-called out into the world can't take away your joy because the world didn't give it to you. Circumstances didn't give it to you. Conditions didn't give it to you. People didn't give it to you. So that what begins to be eliminated from your normal, regular conversations are comparing yourself to other people, complaining and blaming even yourself. You begin to catch yourself before you wreck yourself and begin to come into harmony with once upon a choice. Today I am choosing. Choose ye this day whom you shall serve, God or mammon, God or separation, God or scarcity, God or lack. Therefore, you'll never come into trying to solve issues at the level of the issues. No. You'll raise your frequency into the vibration of the answers and the solutions that are already held in the heart mind of the infinite, and you begin to reflect and reveal the world as it is emerging. Be aware. The media does not inform you, it conditions you. The social media does not necessarily bring unity, it brings separation at times. So when you become aware that you're being conditioned into fear, doubt, worry, lack, limitation, scarcity, and separation, you're able to opt out of that conditioned world and you begin to understand that in the beginning, God, in the beginning, the Word, in the beginning, the vibrational frequency of wholeness is what really exists, and your mind has been hijacked by conditions. But when you see that you're just being pulled into conditions by via of the media, you're able to look at it and say, whoa, I'm being seduced. Whoa, I'm being provoked. Oh, I'm being intimidated. I'm being conditioned into a limited point of view. No, God is all that there is. Love really does exist. Peace is the order of the day. And then we become ambassadors, vibrationally, mind you, not just mentally, not just theorists, not just philosophers. We vibrationally, through prayer, through meditation, through visioning, through sacred service, we become ambassadors vibrationally of the world that is emerging. And if you step back just a little bit, you'll see the unfoldment of the perfect spiritual idea that has now moved itself into science, moved itself into biology, moved itself into all of the new science of the world that is really old for those who have been metaphysically inclined for years. You can see the unfoldment of consciousness into the awareness that this brain is more powerful than any computer that ever existed, and that our soul faculty, as an emanation of the Spirit of the living one of which we have emerged from, we are barely touching the surface of our potential. But if in fact we have been seduced into a false world, we will live under scarcity that provides a pseudo-urgency, and we'll try to create the urgency rather than through presence. In other words, as you become still and you go into your interiority and you begin to come face to face with the brilliance that you are, your state of being will begin to vibrate with the presence of God. And you will demonstrate, you'll create, you'll manifest, but not through urgency, scarcity. Oh my God! You'll begin to create through your state of being. What is that state of being? It's already happening. It's already done in the mind of God. But I have to have not pseudo-coherence, in other words, vibrating, happy when things are going right. I must have real coherence. I must really vibrate with that peace. And so, how do you do that? Ask yourself this question. What would the world look like if I was vibrating at my highest potential? Woo! Ask that question, what would the world look like if I was vibrating at my highest potential? And then you begin to get dreams and visions and insights and little tickles in your spirit about the world you would live in if you were actually really yourself. Not just the imprints that you received through your human conditioning and human experience. Remember the old statement that we're spiritual beings having a human experience. I say, I think not. We are spiritual beings having a human incarnation, and we get to choose our experience. So when we ask, what would the world look like if we were vibrating at our highest potential, we'll begin to see pinpricks of a reality. Woo! That's so real. And then we will walk in that world now, even before it physically manifests. That's true manifestation. That's true feeling tone of already done. It takes inner work, you see. And so what do? You fool yourself to a limited degree. You begin to be grateful. You begin to feel what it feels like to be grateful. And then you begin to hold that vibrational grateful unattached to anything in the physical so that your altitude and your attitude becomes absolutely grateful. And then you seek to sustain it even when things begin to change in the world and not going the way you want. And then your own private life is not the way I want it to be. Oh my God. You begin to unhook yourself from the egoic conversation about comparison and lack and limitation and scarcity, and you come back to, in the beginning, God. Once upon a choice, I incarnated with everything that I needed. I incarnated with all the gifts to circulate and to share and to give. I incarnated with more power than I've ever imagined myself to have. I'm not here to really learn. I'm here to remember what's already within my soul and to walk in that dynamic in such a way that I live in the consciousness of prayer without ceasing. And that is not merely just standing around and verbally praying. It is an attitude of a constant inner connection and awareness with that which is real and that which is eternal. So follow this. There is a new world emerging. And as I've taught over the years, the word emergence is so important because, we have said from time to time, quoting scripture, that we're created in the image and likeness of God, but really, we weren't created, we've emerged. Woo! From the field of infinite potential. We've emerged. We've never been separated, you see. And so we are here. And as we emerge, what happens? A new world emerges around us. We emerge, and then the new world emerges, or the eternal world emerges, or the world that God sees emerges, because we are in that field. And then 2 by 2, 3 by 3, we begin to harmonize in that dynamic of that world. We don't deny the brutality, the barbarism that happens in the world, even now. But we begin to synthesize our awareness around the energies of fierceness, determination, resilience, regeneration, renewal. Hold those frequencies. Break the inner bonds of separation within our own awareness. And then walk as the great avatars of the planet have walked in the world, but of a higher frequency, proclaiming, this is the day of peace. This is the day of love. This is the day of harmony. This is the day of forgiveness. This is the day of creativity and generosity. This is the day the Lord has made, commanding us to rejoice in it. And through this praise and rejoicing, Reverend Joanne, praise and rejoicing, the doors are open. And we see like we've never seen before. Think about this right now. What would your world look like? What would your personal world look like if you were living, vibrating at your highest potential? Just let that sink in for a moment. You've taken full responsibility for your own life when you ask that question. You're not saying, if only my childhood was better. Somebody was asking me that yesterday. I stopped into Simply Wholesome to get something to eat, and this guy runs up to me and he says, "Oh my God, Pastor, you used to look as young as you did years ago. How was your childhood?" And I said, "So far, so good." I haven't given it up. but in substance, you step into, he started laughing, and then, anyway, that's a whole other conversation. Anyway, you have the ability to choose. Choice, function of expanded awareness. Expanded awareness comes through spiritual practice and insights. Insights are stabilized through continued spiritual practice. As I said in the early morning way of meditation service, you don't just meditate to become a good meditator, you meditate to wake up. You meditate to be free. You meditate to have an expanded awareness of who and what you really are. Woo! And now, with asking the question, what would my world look like if I lived to my highest potential? I take full responsibility for my own life. No one can stop that. Nobody can hinder that. Nobody what anybody has ever done to me, said about me. Nothing can stop, because my sole attention is on myself activating my potential. Nothing can stop me. Nothing can stop you. Say, nothing can stop me. Nothing can stop us. We take full responsibility for our own life. We are here to be free. Wow. So going back, I'm going to end, don't worry. Unconditional choice. Not based on circumstance or conditions, but based on our expanded awareness of the is. I'm not saying it is easy, I'm saying it's simple, but it takes a level of practice. And when things aren't looking well, that's when you really practice. In other words, you don't just use the law of the universe when things are going bad. "Oh, please help me." No. All the time, you have some level of practice. And when things are hard, anything you learn under that kind of duress, when embodied, becomes stress resistant. And you're able to walk in the world that's trying to condition you, trying to make you separate from other people, trying to make you compare yourself to other people. You're able to see all of that, but it can't touch you because you see it. You wake up, you say, "Oh, I'm not in this simulation, I'm not in the matrix. Oh, I see what they're doing. They're trying to separate us, trying to make us not like each other. I see it, but it can't touch me." No, I'm living in the real world. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. The kingdom of God is within. It's right here. It's right now. Say with me, if you will, I exercise unconditional choice. What if I can exercise unconditional choice? Why am I always exercising unconditional choice? How do I have such a great ability to exercise unconditional choice? To say that again. Why do I have such strength to exercise unconditional choice? Universe, answer me that question. Universe, answer me this question. Why is everything always working together for my good? Why am I so prosperous? Why am I so healthy? Why am I so happy? Why am I so overjoyed? Why is all of this good happening through me now? Answer me. Answer me. I'm available. Somebody scream about it. Once upon a choice, I chose love. I chose peace. I chose prosperity. I'm choosing joy. I'm choosing absolute beauty right now. My choice is a function of expanded awareness. And as the clouds of doubt, worry, and fear, and scarcity, and comparison are flowing through my awareness is untouched by those clouds, and those clouds disintegrate by my mere observance and underlying intentionality. Poof, they're gone. I'm free. Will you be free with me?
Yes.
Will you stand in your freedom?
Yes.
Let us pray. Let us turn within in this moment. Even though there are others that are praying, P-R-E-Y, on us. They're preying on us. They want us to lack our strength and our sovereignty. They want us to feel less than so that we can be controlled. They want us to be in fear so we can be controlled. But we go from being preyed upon to praying, P-R-A-Y. Having a realization of our oneness with the presence. Having a realization that everything that appears to be against us is actually working on our behalf. Oh, we're one in the Spirit right now. Say, we are one in the Spirit. We are one in God. We are one in love. Nothing can separate us. And so it is in this awareness of total gratitude and thanksgiving and dynamic appreciation that I get to speak the word. I get to recognize the great presence that is everywhere again and again and again and again and again. I get to recognize it again and again and again and again and feel my oneness with it right now. My life is one with God. My life is one with peace and joy and harmony. My life is one with the only life that there is. And I speak the word from this dynamic at one-ment and coherence with divine life for each and every one of us, that we may be free in this moment, and that anything that would tether us to lack and limitation and scarcity, anything that would tether us to a deep sense of separation, is now dissolved into the nothingness from which it has come, never to exist again. We are free in this moment. We are free in this moment. Oh, the word that I'm speaking is the vibrational frequency of wholeness and of oneness, of wholeness and of oneness. We are the answered prayers of our ancestors. Whether they were enslaved or whether they were abolitionists, we're the answer. Next stage of human evolution happening right now. Right now. Right now. Woo-wee. Woo-wee. Oh my God. Life is amazing. Magnificent. Take a deep inhalation. Feel it. Inhalation. Feel it. Inhalation. Sustain that breath right there. And feel all the presence in the entire cosmos in you right now. You lack nothing. As you breathe out, you're releasing love and peace and joy. And hear this, all of us, we emanate from the one. We emanate from the one. Say it, we emanate from the one. Woo! Feel it. Help them feel it. Woo!
Why do we treat each other in this way?
Why? No more.
Oh, no.
No, no.
Taking up time with these silly, silly games we play.
Woo!
But we have so much, and no matter what is said or done,
Woo!
my God, we are one. No matter what they say, we are one. Deep down in our hearts, we are one. And that's the way it is. We are one. Yeah, yeah, Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Feel it.
Yeah,
Feel the power of God